Hey there, Blazer fans. Welcome to a special mini episode of the Dragon's Den, a podcast for those that bleed green and gold. Today, I have a former guest on the show here to promote his new book. Mr. Chris Giles is joining me today. Chris, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, Will. It's a great day today.
Well, good, man. I'm really happy to have you on. I kind of just alluded to it, but I know you really wanted to talk a little bit about your book, and I wanted to let the Blazer faithful know about it. It's called Birmingham: The Golden Years of High School Basketball. So, Chris, what made you decide to write this book?
Well, Will, a couple of years ago, I had a radio show called Magic City Sports Talk, and we had a lot of the ex-basketball players that played in the city of Birmingham. We had a lot of ex-high school coaches that appeared on the show. And after the show ended, I think in 2019 or 2020, I decided to come up with writing a book and where I could tell the story of some of the high school coaches and players. So I thought the golden years of high school basketball in the city of Birmingham would be appropriate for the book. And the reason why, in the 70s, after integration, high school basketball took off in the city of Birmingham. The city of Birmingham was known in the 40s as a football town. In the 50s and the 60s, in the 40s and the 50s, it was known as a baseball town. In the 50s and the 60s, it was known as a football town. But in the 70s, after integration, after Wendell Hudson had enrolled in the University of Alabama, he was the first African-American athlete to receive a scholarship. It was from my high school age, Parker High School. But once Wendell Hudson enrolled in the University of Alabama, then everything changed in the 70s. And he enrolled in the University of Alabama in 1969.
Okay. So what are some of the highlights of the book?
Well, some of the highlights of the book, one time in 1964, A.H. Parker High School lost their first game and won 43 games in a row. They went on to win the national championship. Coach Cap Brown is the only coach in the state of Alabama to win a state championship, a national championship. And so I thought that was very significant. And then also Parker High School was the first high school in 1969 when Wendell Hudson led Parker High School team to the state integrated state championship. They played Carver High School. Back in the late 68, the Black High School tournament had merged with the Alabama High School Association. So the first two teams to play for the championship in 4A, which was the largest classification, was Parker High School and Carver High School back in 1969. Also, some of the highlights in the book, the city of Birmingham has had 39 players drafted in the NBA or played in the NBA, and that's including myself. The only two high schools that didn't have anybody drafted in the NBA was Banks High School and Ensley High School. So that was very significant to me. Also, when you look at a lot of these guys, they came from humble beginning. They came from communities that was okay. And these guys, they maintained their focus and they had an opportunity to get scholarships. And they got scholarships all over the world, people from Birmingham. So Birmingham became a basketball town in the 70s, and they created a lot of great athletes, a lot of great high school coaches. Like I said, I stated earlier, Cap Brown, you had Steve Jefferson over at Carver. You had Ralph Williams, who played on a national championship, coached the state championship himself at Hayes High School. You had Jack Doss, who's still winning this high school, coached for a state championship, coached at Hayes High School. Then he coached up in Huntsville. So you had a lot of great coaches. They were great coaches. They were great men. They were disciplined, and their players, they got better. They improved their players, and they went on to get scholarships. So I thought it was something that needed to be put in a book, because a lot of time, our history to the elder is like a library. But when they die, they take the history with them. So I heard a lot of the stories. I did a lot of research, and I thought it was very important to put it in some type of book.
I love it, Chris. Well, you kind of mentioned a few talking points from it, but you talked about the players coming from humble beginnings, and you talked about the players coming from Birmingham, and the Birmingham being a basketball town in the 70s, and I think it still is to this day. But why do you feel this book is important to the community?
Well, I think you have to know your history and know what things started from at the beginning. One time Birmingham had 13 high schools. Now we're down to 7 high schools. And out of the 13 high schools, like I stated earlier, each high school had somebody that was drafted or played in the NBA, except for 2 high schools. Parker High School has had the most players. We've had 8 people drafted in the NBA, including myself. We've had 4 to play in the NBA. Currently, we got Eric Bledsoe, who's still playing in the NBA. So in the state of Alabama, Parker High School has the most people drafted. We've had the most players to play in the NBA, and that's in the whole state of Alabama. You look at Carver High School, they've had 4 players drafted. Hayes High School has had 4 players drafted. West End has had 2 players drafted. We can go on and on, but all of these high schools played a pivotal role after integration, after the civil rights. These schools stepped up and they produced pretty good athletes that went on and did well at the state university. You had Reginald King, you had T.R. Dunn, you had Enos Watley, you had Buck Johnson. All these guys went to the University of Alabama, elevated the University of Alabama. You had myself, Oliver Robinson, Norman Ankrum, who went to UAB and elevated UAB. You had Hodge, who went to South Alabama. He elevated that program. So you had a lot of kids from Birmingham that changed the culture of their university. You take Wendell Hudson, when he went to the University of Alabama, he made basketball, people begin to look at basketball at the University of Alabama. Oliver came to UAB, he changed the culture, a winning culture. You take a guy by the name of Harold Robinson, who went to the University of Lincoln University. He changed the culture of their program. You have a guy named Anthony Hicks that played basketball at Ramsey High School. He went to Xavier. He changed the whole culture of that program. And they winning and they're successful. So not only did people from Birmingham get scholarships, but they changed the culture of those programs and they made those programs a better program. And plus they were graduates. Most of these guys I'm talking about graduated from college.
So what were some inspirations for you to write this book?
Well, the inspiration for me was knowing a lot of these guys and knowing their achievement and what they accomplished in this state and out of state. You take Wendell Hudson again. Wendell Hudson was the first African-American athlete to receive a scholarship. But not only that, he's the only athlete at the University of Alabama to have his jersey retired. No football player, no Joe Namath, no Kenny Stabler, none of all these great football players that played at the University of Alabama, but it was a basketball player who has his number and jersey retired. No one else has that. Knowing these guys, and a lot of times our history get lost. When I did my research, trying to get information from AL.com, the library, it was hard to get information. Either they didn't have it or they didn't want to look for it. So I started calling around, asking people did they have anything in their scrapbook or anything in any type of newspaper clipping. And then I started reading articles, finding articles. And so that kind of inspired me. I think my coach, Coach Brown, William Cap Brown, was one of the greatest coaches ever. He coached 2 sports, football and baseball. Cap Brown had 6 basketball players drafted in the NBA, including myself. But he had 6 baseball players drafted in the Major League Baseball, and 3 of them went first round. There's nobody in the United States of America had ever done that. And his story hadn't been told. And our story here in Birmingham hasn't been told with basketball. We know about the civil rights movement. We know all the things that happened in the civil rights movement. But it was a lot of good things happening in athletics, especially basketball. Over there at the University of Alabama, Birmingham, it was Ulmer High School. And a guy from Birmingham, his name was Larry Keenan. He played for Coach Gene Bartow at Memphis State, and he helped take Memphis State to the Final Four. Larry Keenan from Birmingham. Coach Bartow comes to Birmingham and build a program. We almost went to the Final Four. And little bitty Bell Gym. That's history that people don't realize. This guy played for Coach Bartow, the father of UAB basketball. And he played basketball over in Bell Gym. And a lot of people don't know his story. It was Dr. J and Special K. He won 2 ABA championships with Dr. J in the ABA. And he played with George Gervin with the San Antonio Spurs. And Larry Keenan came up second with Dr. J in the first slam dunk contest. And he was from the city of Birmingham. A lot of people don't know these stories that I'm telling. So I decided to put it in a book so people can read and look at the pictures and say, hey, I remember those days. One thing that's special in the book is Fair Park Arena. And when I was in high school, we played majority of our games at Fair Park Arena. Fair Park seated about 4,500. And with standing room only, you probably could get 5,000 in there. Can you imagine that place was sold out basically every night? And I got a picture in my book, and a lot of people see that picture, and it brings back memories. Bill Harris Arena is a way better facility than Fair Park Arena, and they can't fill it up. So Fair Park Arena was an iconic arena. If you didn't get there during the B team game or 3 o'clock, you couldn't find a seat. So a lot of people used to miss work. The lines used to be around the corner to get into a rivalry game, a Parker Jackson-Ola game, a Parker Hayes, a Parker West End. You know, we set all type of attendance. The 3 biggest high school games in the state tournament, Parker was a participant in all 3 of them. Oh. Parker and Carver 69, Parker and Carver 1978, Parker and John Carroll at the Civic Center. So the largest crowd, and it's not a Parker book, but Parker Thunder and Hurry with the first and everything. But I didn't want to make it a Parker book. I wanted every high school that was in the city of Birmingham at that time to be represented. And that's what my book is all about.
What are some of the other historical moments mentioned in the book?
Well, some of the historical moments, like I said earlier, at Parker High School, the first guy to ever play in the NBA came from Parker High School, but he didn't play basketball at Parker High School. His name was Lee McReynolds. He went to Miles College, and he averaged 38 points a game. He was drafted by the Baltimore Bullets. But the first guy that actually played high school basketball from the city of Birmingham, he went to Carver High School, and his name was Lamar Green. Lamar Green went to Morehead State. Him and 4 of his teammates, they called him the Birmingham 4. They left Carver High School back in 1965, 66, and they went to Morehead State in Kentucky and changed their whole culture. Matter of fact, all 4 of them went in the Hall of Fame at Morehead State. So they changed the whole culture. Lamar Green was drafted in 1967 by the Phoenix Suns. So he actually played in the Birmingham City School. Lee McReynolds didn't, but he did attend the Birmingham City School with A.H. Parker High School. So those were some, great moments. You know, you had Wendell Hudson, you had Reginald King, you had T.R. Dunn, Enos Wadley, Buck Johnson, Andrew Toner that played at Glenn High School. They won an NBA championship with the Philadelphia 76ers. You know, a person from Birmingham, winning an NBA championship. And then you also had Alan Murphy, who played at the University of Louisville. They went to the Final Four. They played against John Wooden and lost. Larry Keenan played for Coach Bartow of Memphis State. They played against John Wooden and lost. So I thought those were some significant moments and achievement. But then you got the high school coaches. Cap Brown was one time the all-time winningest high school basketball coach in the state of Alabama with over 800 wins. And then you had Willie Scoggin, who coached at Hayes High Schools and Ramsey High School, he had about 800 and some wins. And then you had Steve Jefferson, who won back-to-back state championship at Carver High School. He had great teams. And then you had guys like Herman Williams, who coached at Parker High School. He won the first integrated state high school championship. He won 2 out of 3 state championships. And then you had Coach Critton over there at Woodlawn. He won 2 state championships. So you had some great coaches here in Birmingham. You had George Moore, who was the athletic director of the Birmingham City Schools. He won 2 state championships at Winona. So you had good coaches. And all these guys had guys that were drafted in the NBA, including Jack Doss over at Hayes High School, who won 2 state championships over there back to back with Buck Johnson, but he's the all-time winningest state championship coach with 10. And that's a phenomenal feat in itself, because he won his first 2 state championships in the city of Birmingham. Now he got 10. So, and I think he's coming out of retirement to coach this year. So I thought that was a pretty good accomplishment. Also, the coaches, they used to come out to Fair Park when they had a coach's corner. You had Gene Bartow, you had Hugh Doom, you had Danny Crum, you had Wimp Sanders, you had Sonny Smith, you had CM Newton. So you had all these coaches from the surrounding areas and from different states used to come there to Fair Park and watch these guys play. It was just a tremendous atmosphere. Birmingham basketball is not what it used to be, Will. I mean, it ain't even close. It's not even close. You might have one guy, the city of Birmingham, that maybe to get a Division I scholarship. You might have one guy to go pro. Back then, I mean, we had 39 guys from the city of Birmingham between the 70s to the early 80s to go in the NBA. You don't have guys doing that anymore. You don't even have guys getting scholarships anymore with upper Division I. So basketball to me has went down. And I'm trying to show the kids and the community that we had strong leaders, we had strong coaches, and we had disciplined coaches. And we was able to go on and try to make something. I'm not gonna say everybody graduated from college, but just going to college, you can meet a lot of people just going to college. You can meet friends, lifetime friends. You can meet people that one day might be CEOs of a company. So, but there was a lot of good things going on in basketball. Basketball was a hotbed. It was so hot that you had coaches fighting over players. So that basketball was hot during that day.
Yeah. Well, Chris, I love it, man. It sounds like an awesome book. I'm going to have to get myself a copy. Where can my listeners find a copy of it, and where can they scoop up a book?
Well, if anyone want to purchase a book, they can purchase a book from me. They can also go to the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute gift shop and purchase a book. I have them also at the Birmingham Vulcan Park. You can go there and purchase a book. And you can go on Amazon, ebook, and you can purchase a book. And like I said, again, you can purchase a book for me, Chris Giles. You can hit me on Facebook and just give me your address. If you want me to mail it, I can mail it. $5 postage fee. The book is only $10. And then you send me your address and I'll make sure that you get it. So you got 4 ways that you can purchase the book: through me, through Amazon, Birmingham Civil Rights, or Birmingham Vulcan Park. You can go there and purchase a book.
Well, that sounds awesome, Chris. Thank you so much for shedding light on the history of Birmingham basketball. I know it's going to be an awesome read. I can't wait for to promote it on my social pages. For those listening, I will share it on my social pages as well, and share it on my audio feeds. So check it out and be on the lookout for it around Birmingham and give it a read. It sounds awesome. Chris, thank you so much for your time.
Well, I want to say one other thing.
Go ahead.
They can't reach me on Facebook. My number is 205-223-6340. Just give me a call.
All right. You heard it from the man himself. Chris, thank you again. And can't wait to read it. Thank you so much for all you do for the city of Birmingham and for all you did for UAB as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Will. I appreciate you having me on the show.